Check, check.
I'm gonna tell them too. Probably not, but we're going anyway. Yes, I think I do. Oh, is this on? This is on. Live. Welcome, 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 welcome. We will begin in 2 minutes. I hate to say that just because I wanted to tell people the bar is officially open. So if you need to do that, you can at any time. 1 minute, 45 seconds. We'll begin. Thank you. all getting up and coming up and going down? Or are you sitting up here? No?
That we switch
Yeah, but from there, not from the.
right here.
Okay, perfect.
So that that way we team.
Mm-hmm.
We don't understand something, we support each other, and
Okay.
we don't have eyes behind our back like our moms did. So this ain't gonna help
Makes sense.
back
That
here.
makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, this suit
Thank you.
is a breathable too.
Yeah, it really is.
Did you get it custom made?
No, I saw it and I was like, that's
My
the
husband
suit.
is like your build exactly
Is
like
that
my
right?
husband. I
I
should.
think I got it in North Carolina anyway, but
course.
yeah. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We are going to begin. We are going to begin. Good afternoon and welcome to my favorite time of year and the thing we in University Outreach and Engagement love doing most, and that is celebrating folks. So I want to begin by asking you to give everyone in here a round of applause. Get the energy up in the room. Give yourselves a round of applause. And give me a round of applause. Huh? Let's go for that. So, yeah, my name is Kwesi Brookins. I'm the Vice Provost for University Outreach and Engagement, as well as a professor of ecological community psychology. Welcome to the 2026 Michigan State University Outreach and Engagement Awards Ceremony, the best in class among award ceremony at Michigan State University. And for those of you who put on your own award ceremony, sorry. You can argue it, but you know, that's cool. If you compete against us, we will all keep just raising the bar. So we are excited about it. We gather to, this is a celebratory day because it gives us an opportunity to recognize outstanding partnerships and meaningful collaborations. We gather to honor some of the most impactful, innovative, and truly inspiring work happening in partnerships among faculty, staff, students, communities, organizations, agencies, businesses, schools, and the public, everybody. At Michigan State University, we have embraced an approach to engagement that arises from our commitment to public access, our land-grant traditions, and our responsibilities as an institution of higher learning that would not exist without the communities, both near and far, that we are a part of. And forgive me, I have a bunch of pieces of paper up here. I got to make sure I move to the correct one next. I'm getting there. I acknowledge that Michigan State University was one of the first land-grant institutions established under the Federal Morrill Act of 1862. A fundamental part of MSU's history is that the university was established on the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the Anishinaabe people, the Three Fires Confederacy of Ojibwe, Ottawa, and Potawatomi peoples. In particular, the university resides on land ceded in the 1819 Treaty of Saginaw. As an institution, and especially as partners with the larger community, we must be mindful of the historical cost of this over 200-year legacy to our institution and the costs borne by the Native American, Indigenous, and First Nations communities with which we are forever connected. Thus, built into our public mission is a responsibility to ensure that the university's research, knowledge, educational experiences, people, and other resources are integrated with the needs of the larger community. For University Outreach and Engagement, this public mission is at the heart of what we do, why we do it, and how we do it. We are committed to working with the people of Michigan and alongside our faculty, staff, and students. We are invested in expanding our understanding of what it means to have a history that contributed to the disenfranchisement of the original occupants of the land. And in the spirit of this very important work, we are here to celebrate and share. I also acknowledge the communities that have been subjected to enslavement, colonization, false borders, unequal and inequitable conditions of living, and forced to justify that existence constantly. And despite this, continue to emerge to positively transform this world each time it fails to embrace what it claims to be. We also acknowledge the peoples whose ancestors traveled from and sometimes escaped from other lands, other worlds, in an imperfect and much too often violent quest to create communities where opportunities could flourish and health, wealth, and wellness could be realized. To all here who see themselves connected to these human communities, I want to use a Zulu word that is stated sawubona, which means I see you, we see you, and we hope you see each other. We ask the Creative Spirit to give us the patience, mindfulness, and wisdom to see those things before our eyes, the blessings, the injustices, to speak on them, and to take action to never rest until we have moved our world a bit further towards a life that is more reflective of our common humanity. So what does University Outreach and Engagement Awards represent? Engage research, engage creative activities, engage teaching, and engage service that are driven by community-identified questions and needs. These partnerships are expected to be reciprocal, benefiting all partners, building on communities' assets, and requiring co-development and ongoing collaboration to be successful and meaningful. Many of us understand how rewarding it is to work with researchers, staff, students, and external partners who want to find solutions to the world's challenges. So today we welcome you and thank you for joining us in paying tribute to faculty members, academic staff, students, and the wider community whose outstanding efforts to integrate university knowledge with community knowledge impact us all. I encourage you to read the descriptions of their work on the University Outreach and Engagement website or in the awards ceremony program that is on your table, the booklet. And I think you'll agree that these individuals and partnerships are exceptional in their scholarship and their contributions towards making the world a little better. And if some project or person excites you, inspires you, stimulates your imagination, follow up with them either during the program, during the reception, or afterwards. I'm sure we will all appreciate it as we grow our engaged community. So at this time, I'd like to turn your attention to the screens as we hear from Michigan State University's president, Dr. Kevin Gutzkowitz. President Gutzkowitz is tending to university business, but prepared a video for us.
Hello, everyone. I can't join you in person, but I'm pleased to offer congratulations to all of today's awardees. Michigan State owns a proud land-grant tradition of collaboration and partnerships. From students' community service and scholarship to distinguished faculty achievements in outreach, teaching, and research. Each of you reflect Michigan State's proud legacy of engagement that turns expertise into impact. In my travels, I see how Spartan's work makes a difference beyond our campus. And I've always believed we work best as one team. I'm also very proud of MSU's 2026 Carnegie Elective Classification for Community Engagement. This national recognition reflects our long-standing commitment to community engagement to address real-world challenges. So thank you to University Outreach and Engagement for your great work supporting and recognizing our partnerships. And a note of gratitude to all the colleagues, leaders, family, community partners, and friends for joining us today at this recognition. And thanks and congratulations to our Spartan and partner honorees for your exemplary commitment to making a difference for others. Go Green.
Go White. Got to do that again. Go Green. All right. Although he was unable to attend today, we want to thank President Guskowitz for his remarks, and I'm going to say his passion towards engagement and outreach and the scholarship that follows that. Having not come from a land grant tradition institution, we have been very pleased. I was right down the road from him at a land grant, so I saw him in action when he was in North Carolina. He has embraced this tradition perhaps more than anybody, if I can I say that, Jim? Beyond, let's say, Hannah, right? President Hannah. And so we are very appreciative in the outreach and engagement space of what he has brought and what he has inspired and what we look forward to continuing to work with him. Before we begin the presentation of awards, I'd like to address one housekeeping item. Again, when recipients come to the stage to accept their awards, we ask you to please pause briefly as we have a photographer in the room, or we did. Where's Dave? Okay, he'll be here when the time comes, or somebody from his team will be here. And they will tell us, we got to do the pose, right? It didn't happen if we didn't take a picture of it, and we know you want to have it for Prosperity Stakes. So please do that, and he'll tell us, how we need to behave when that happens. We begin our awards program today by hearing about and from students who have demonstrated a tremendous commitment to community engagement. They've each volunteered hundreds of hours of their time and represent MSU students who have collectively committed thousands of hours, and we're talking about just within a year, to our communities. Please join me in welcoming Dr. James Hintz, our relatively, can I say that, James? New Vice President for Student Affairs, and a partner with UOE as we share the Center for Community Engaged Learning in our units. And Jim, I welcome you to campus and welcome you to the stage.
Appreciate that. Well, good afternoon. How are we all doing? Great. All right, it's the end of the day. We'll get there, though. This is what a distinguished group here. I'm so proud to be with you this afternoon to be able to celebrate students and scholars and many of our community partners. Again, my name is Jim Hintz, and I serve as the Vice President for Student Affairs. I've been here for about 8 months, so still learning the place, getting to know everybody, and make my way around campus, finding parking and buildings and rooms and all those things. So if I haven't had a chance to meet you yet, hopefully I will here shortly. But I just wanted to take a few minutes to just recognize the students in particular, and all of you who have made all of this work possible and for us to live up to our values. Student Affairs, if you're not aware, is deeply focused on learning, development, and success here of our students at Michigan State University. We're excited to be partners with University Outreach and Engagement. We have a longstanding relationship, and we are fortunate to share the work of the Center for Community Engaged Learning, who has helped all of us achieve, all of us in this room, the number one ranking among in the nation of public institutions for service learning by U.S. News and World Report for the 3rd year in a row. So let's give a round of applause for that effort. And that's outstanding, but not only have we received that recognition as an institution, but many of our students, staff, and community partners continue to receive local, regional, and national recognition as well, which demonstrates our true commitment to service as a very value of this institution and in the Spartan experience. I'm especially excited tonight that you're going to hear from one of our award-winning students here shortly, Trinity, so we're excited to hear her story. And but having said that, I want to keep this moving so this can continue to be, I guess, the best awards program moving forward. And so it's my pleasure to introduce the Executive Director of the Center for Community Engaged Learning, Renee Miller-Zentek. So please give it up for Renee.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Renee Miller-Zentek. I'm the Executive Director of the Center for Community Engaged Learning here at Michigan State University. We are the oldest center in the country, and we'd like to say that we're on the cutting edge too. So at one point, people called us a modern classic. We'll take that. We'll take that. I'm really pleased to be with you here tonight. Our mission is to prepare students for lifelong civic and social responsibility, and the Spartan Volunteer Service Program is one that we're particularly proud of. It recognizes students, all students, undergraduate, graduate, international, domestic, and recognizes them as they contribute to the community by serving over 100 hours within an academic year. So this past period of time that we recognize was 24-25, and there were 154 such Spartans who made that mark, who accomplished serving more than 100 hours, which is really exciting. That's a great number of students to do that. And what's interesting is even when we give students that mark of 100 hours, you can imagine, I would say probably, and I know Casey might be able to correct me, but over half of them far exceeded that 100 hours, did way more than 100 hours. So it's just true, if you give a Spartan a goal, they'll just shoot way beyond it, and that makes us super proud. Something to know about the Spartan Volunteer Service Award program is that when it started 8 years ago, prior to that, we had been nominating students for the U.S. President's Volunteer Service Award. But we found out when we started submitting nominations that international students and students who were not citizens were not eligible for this award. So at that time, we spoke with our then president about this particular predicament, knowing that we wanted an inclusive award where all students who are serving and being part of their community would be able to be recognized. And so from there, the Spartan Volunteer Service Award was born. This is a presidential award, so the students, when they receive this award at the annual ceremony in January, which is around the MLK Day time, they receive the award from the Center for Community Engaged Learning and from the Office of the President. It's a very prestigious award for our students, and we're always pleased that we're able to give that opportunity to them to receive recognition for the time that they're putting forth to be good community members and good citizens. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and introduce Casey Keaton. Casey is our Assistant Director in the Center for Community Engaged Learning. He's the manager of the Spartan Volunteer Service program, but he is also the Assistant Director for student volunteer programs. So he knows many of these students personally, and so he watches them as they're doing their service work and provides many of the programs that they volunteer in, and then gets the unique pleasure of seeing them receive their awards as well. So welcome, Casey.
Thanks, Renee, and welcome everybody. Good evening. I think we're progressing into evening now. I'm gonna be very brief. This is, like I say every time, this is one of my most rewarding. Every time we can award students for doing something, especially giving back to community, it's very rewarding for myself, and always encourage them to keep going. So this is a special night for me as well. As Renee noted, the Spartan Volunteer Service Award recognizes students who invest 100 more hours in community service during an academic year. Representative of all 2024-2025 award recipients, the students we are honoring tonight, tonight, each committed the most time of service. They each committed 950 or more hours in a year. So I think that deserves a round of applause. And I can say, kind of with certainty, the highest was about 1,100. So, but if you can imagine that with the demands and social life and classes, but for them still to make that effort to give back to community and invest their time, says a lot about these three students who are going to be recognized, and all the students that committed over 100 hours. So the students tonight we're going to be recognizing, they include Trinity Almiraj from Lyman Briggs College, Lauren Bradford, excuse me, from the College of Osteopathic Medicine, and Sumaya Imad, College of Social Science. Please please join me in welcoming the winners of the Spartans Volunteer Service Awards to the stage to receive their certificates. Right here. Hold on. Before we take this cool picture, this is Lauren Bradford, this is Trinity Almiraj, and this is Sumaya Imat. I know, right? you guys want to stay? Okay. I am now pleased to introduce Trinity Almiraj, an outstanding representative of all Spartan Volunteer Service Award recipients, to say a few words, and Trinity had the most hours this year.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Trinity Amalraj, and I'm a third-year undergraduate student majoring in biology and minoring in bioethics. I want to thank University Outreach and Engagement for this award, and I also want to thank the Center for Community Engaged Learning for supporting all of us volunteers so that we continue to feel empowered to serve our communities. This award not only represents the contributions we have made to the community, but the people we've had the ability to meaningfully impact. Volunteering teaches us that service includes an impressive amount of humility and confidence in being able to take the mistakes we make in stride and ask for help from others so that we can become better volunteers for our community. I learned that lesson on my very first day volunteering at Sparrow Hospital. As a freshman, I did what many freshmen do, and I took the wrong CATA bus route on my way to Sparrow. And I ended up stranded near that Trader Joe's on Grand River, wondering if I should just go inside, buy those addictive chili and lime flavored tortilla chips, go back to my dorm in Holmes Hall, and just give up. But as most volunteers know, when people are depending on you, giving up isn't really an option. When I finally arrived at medical surgical unit for my first shift, I was terrified of making mistakes. I worried that I might accidentally give food to a patient who's ordered MPO or nothing by mouth, or that I would bother busy medical staff by asking too many questions. However, being a Sparrow volunteer for 2 years now has taught me that mistakes or asking for help in the learning process do not hold the weightage that we think it does. Mistakes will never diminish the impact we have on our community when we learn and grow from them. In fact, they make us better volunteers who understand how to navigate and overcome barriers to help others. However, asking for help was especially hard for me in the beginning of my volunteering journey because sometimes it felt like the weight of the community's burdens rested on my shoulders, and asking for help from my community often felt like it defeated the purpose of my service. But as a volunteer for the MSU Center for Survivors, I take on 24-hour hotline shifts or 12-hour chat shifts, which allow me to provide safe spaces for survivors of relationship or sexual violence to share their stories, emotions, and validate their experiences. However, what I didn't expect was the impact that these stories would have on my mental health until my very first few shifts. And I remember feeling the weight of those many stories affecting my ability to serve. But reaching out to my fellow volunteers from the Center for Survivors provided the relief I needed after particularly difficult calls. And it taught me how our power as volunteers strengthens when we combine our efforts to create positive change. I've learned that taking care of your own community of volunteers is just as important as taking care of the community you are serving. So as much as this award represents the countless hours we dedicate to supporting our communities, it also represents the journeys many of us have had in becoming comfortable with the learning process so that we can truly contribute to the causes that matter to us. I want to thank everyone here today and those across the MSU community who engage in community engaged work. Your resilience, compassion, and commitment to serving others are what truly make this recognition possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Trinity. In recognition of their commitment to service, Office of University Outreach and Engagement has allowed the students to donate $350 to a community organization of each student's choice. This year, those organizations include Helping Women Period, Tenet Resource Center of Mid-Michigan, and Hope for HS Detroit chapter. Please join me in congratulating all of our Spartan Volunteer Service Award recipients 2014-2015.
Renee, my program says you were supposed to come up next, but since you're not coming up next, I'll move on to the next thing. So thank you, Renee, congratulations. Give a hand again to the students. People often ask, who are the faces of, when people think of Michigan State University, we say students are the first face of Michigan State University, then Sparty, then probably Izzo, and then I think I come maybe 75 down the line. But we do our best. So thank you all. The Office of University Outreach and Engagement and the Graduate School collaborate to administer a recognitions program aimed at honoring the work of graduate and graduate professional students who distinguish themselves through scholarly community engagement. It is my pleasure to introduce Pero Dagbovi, Vice Provost for Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies and Dean of the Graduate School and Professor of History and the author of the quintessential book, more recently, if you haven't read it, you better recognize and get it, called Forever in the Path, The History of Black Folk at Michigan State University. Dr. Dagbovi will present the Graduate Student Awards for Community Engagement Scholarship.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Vice Provost Brookins, for the introduction. Appreciate it. Community engaged scholarship and university outreach are truly foundational to the mission of Michigan State University. The character of our beloved university is deeply shaped by its commitment to working with those outside of Michigan State University's borders to address the concerns of the world around us. For this reason, it's particularly appropriate and gratifying to honor and promote the ways in which so many students contribute to this work during their years of graduate studies. Nominees for the Graduate Student Awards for Community Engagement Scholarship are expected to be master's or doctoral students who have collaborated with off-campus community partners in community-engaged research, creative activity, teaching, and/or service while enrolled in graduate study at Michigan State University. Recipients receive a plaque to memorialize their accomplishments and a $750 stipend. It's now my distinct pleasure to announce the recipients of the 2026 Graduate Student Awards for Community Engagement Scholarship. They are Angelique Willis from the College of Social Science, Chen-Lu Jin from the College of Education, Jennifer Rodell from the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources, Raphael Lemby from the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources. I'd like to formally welcome our award recipients to the stage to offer some brief remarks about their accomplishments, and we'll go in the order of they were being announced. So, Angelique, you can kick us off. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. Excuse me. This is a full circle moment. Who knew that a young woman from sitting on the church steps of First Rephidim Missionary Baptist Church, listening to elders swap stories about environmental injustices, will be here today receiving an award for a community event that we put on in Atlanta, Georgia? Can I just please have everyone give a round of applause for that? So this event with the Atlanta Watershed Learning Network, I've been partnering with them for a very, very long time. And the community, Mr. Tucker, who's my favorite, said, Angelique, hey, we have these Saturday meetings all the time, but we gotta make sure that the community that we're serving understand how to recognize environmental injustices and who can they reach out to when they're seeing an environmental injustice in their neighborhood. I said, okay, Mr. Tucker, you own to something. We really have to do that. We have to do that important work. So at Georgia State University, they were having a grant. And I was like, Mr. Tucker, we got to apply for this grant. At Georgia State University gave us the grant, and we held a phenomenal event in July of last year. And so with that, those who know me, and I would like my mentors, could you all please stand up? And my friends, please stand up. Let's give them a round of applause. Because last semester, and I told myself I was not gonna cry, but we were starting up another project for environmental injustices in Michigan. And all of a sudden, my community partner died on me. And when he passed away, it was a very, very, very hard time. And so I would like to dedicate this award to Jason Blinks. Because when I received this award this semester, I mean, I couldn't go to class, and I was just, after you are grieving a person, community partners are like your family. And when I received the notification of this award, it made me jump back up and spark back up to continue serving the communities that I care about. So I just want to thank the Office of Community Engagement and Outreach for this special award. It means so much to me. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for this honor. 大家晚上好，非常感谢这份荣誉。I'm deeply grateful to receive the Graduate Student Award for Community Engaged Teaching and Learning. My name is Chen Lujing. I'm a fourth-year PhD candidate in College of Education. As a bilingual educator who grew up in China and experienced transnational higher education, I know how powerful language can be for sharing and shaping identity, connection, and belonging. In my community engaged work, I partner with Spartan Chinese School, which is a community-based heritage language school serving families in Greater Lansing area who speak Mandarin at home. Many families deeply value maintaining heritage language as they grow up, but they also share with me the challenges of maintaining heritage languages and the lack of resources in the English-dominant environments. So together with my second graders and the school board and the families, we designed a playful curriculum built around games, storytelling, and collaborative activities. Through these activities, the curriculum amplified their voices in sharing knowledge and their experiences. Now this is my second year teaching at Spartan Chinese School, and the children often remind me why this work matters. One student said, I'm proud of my first game that I made. It's a Chinese game. Another say, I failed and I learned to be better. And many simply say, I love learning when I'm with my friends. When we see children as transnational and multilingual experts, they not only learn, but they also contribute their creativity and knowledge to the community and future generations to come. This work has also opened doors for broader collaboration. Families joined a bilingual trip to Abraham Planetarium, youth volunteers as Chinese Spartan School with my advisor, Dr. Chongming Huang, and our research team, who also is present here, Piao En, Song Wu, Yifan, and their family members, Jana and Leo. We co-host a heritage language workshop at the East Lansing Public Library with the youth. These gatherings create spaces where families share resources, build connections, and support one another. As a Chinese saying goes, 众人划桨开大船, which means that many people row together, even we can make a big boat move forward. So it reminds us when people work together, the collective efforts create something much stronger. This honor also goes to community partners and families who have worked together to make this work possible, the students who creatively shape the curriculum, the parents, and the school board, especially our principal, Lisa Liu, who's also present there, who supported and collaborated, and the youth volunteers who continue to inspire young learners. I'm honored to learn alongside them. Thank you. 谢谢大家。
Hi everyone, my name is Jen Rodell and I am a 5th and final year PhD student in the Department of Entomology here at MSU. I wanted to first thank MSU University Outreach and Engagement for this amazing celebration and this award that's recognizing our work focusing on improving pollinator habitat on urban farms for promoting crop pollination. So early in my PhD program, I wrote and received a North Central Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education grant with the intention to work with urban farmers, hands-on with them to improve their pollination management methods and understanding. A lot of urban farmers have a big interest in having pollinator gardens, which can be really important green space, both for community health, but also for improving crop yields. Urban farming has become a really popular way to support food sovereignty in communities with little access to fresh food. However, urban farmers have been historically underserved with the sorts of educational materials they receive compared to conventional farmers, often not as much quality or quantity or even specifically to what their needs are. So with that, we created the Bee Urban Growers Project, or what we call is the BUG Project, and our mission was to work hands-on with urban farmers with their feedback and with them every step of the way to create kind of a bridge between MSU extension, outreach, and making sure we're reaching those audiences to improve pollinator habitat, not just for conservation for bee communities, but also to improve crop pollination so these urban farms can produce quality and bountiful food. And so through this project, we installed 9 pollinator habitats in Detroit and Lansing, Michigan, and they've really thrived. I wish I could show you all pictures of it, but it's really changed the space from lawns to these beautiful wild spaces. We hosted 2 on-farm field days at the Detroit Partnership for Food Learning and Innovation, or DP-FLY, if anyone knows or has been there. It's an amazing space. We published an MSU Extension University Pocket Guide, started a community science project through iNaturalist that's had hundreds of observations on documenting urban bee species in the Great Lakes region. And we've hosted countless workshops, attended different conferences, and presented on the importance of creating these spaces for pollinators. So I wanted to thank all the people that made this work possible. I wanted to thank my mentor and advisor, Dr. Sophia Sundry, for supporting this work, and Dr. Hannah Burrock, who encouraged me to apply for this award. I also wanted to thank my lab members for all of their support and feedback, especially Karma Thomas, who's been by my side for this whole project. And I wanted to thank the community organizations. There were so many community partners who are already doing this work and doing a great job of this work in Detroit. Graduate program is so short that you really have to partner with these organizations to really make an impact in these communities. So that being the Xerces Society, Detroit Butterfly Nursery, Detroit Hives, Joseph Ferrero, and MSU's DP-FLY. I would also mostly want to thank the growers who helped with this work. Like I said, their feedback was integral, but also their friendship over the years and seeing their passion grow for bugs and understanding the connection between the little bugs around them and the importance of the growing the food was amazing. And with that, thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rafael Lemby. I'm a PhD candidate in the Department of Community Sustainability, and I'm here to deliver a little speech for this award. So first, thank you to MSU University Outreach and Engagement for this recognition, to my fellow award winners as well. It's an honor to be sitting here with all of you who are doing this amazing work. And today I'm being recognized for my PhD research project. It's about energy access and energy transitions in the Brazilian Amazon. My dissertation is a community-engaged research project that examines a key issue in the Amazon, which is that despite the massive hydropower dams that generate electricity, still nearly 1 million people live in the region with limited or no access to electricity, especially indigenous, traditional, and local communities who reside away from urban centers and inside the forest. In this context, my research explored the uptake of solar energy as a technology solution that can potentially address some of these energy injustices. However, in the lower Tapajós River region where I was, in the city of Santarém, what I learned from my work is that how these technologies get implemented is what really shapes the possibilities for more just energy transitions. Renewable energy systems are not inherently better or good, but they can help open spaces for just energy transition if they are co-designed, co-created, and co-implemented in collaboration with communities. Through community-engaged, bottom-up approaches, solar energy can help and strengthen the sovereignty, autonomy, and resilience of these communities in the face of a changing climate. But this needs to be done from a place of genuine collaboration and reciprocal relationships between external implementers and community leaders. So a key message that I learned from my work is that participation and community engagement is not a nice to do, it's not a nice to have. Rather, it is a vital condition that either opens up or closes down possibilities for a truly just energy transition. And even though I'm from Brazil, I'm still a foreigner in the Amazon. The real experts are the community leaders in places like Cachoeirinha do Mentai, Jari do Socorro, Alto Jari, Arapiranga, who welcome me to their territories and share their stories and experiences with me. And people like Dona Rosângela, Seu Gongo, Seu Mauro, Seu Laurimar, these community leaders are the true guardians of the forest, doing a vital work that benefits an entire planet under a changing climate while still living under difficult conditions. So thank you for the communities who welcome me into their homes, share their visions for a just energy future, and reminded me that the how of transformation is equally as important as the what. This award belongs to these community partners as well to my energy practitioners partners, such as the NGO Projeto Saúde e Alegria, people like Jussara Salgado Batista, Ana Costa, and the Renewable Energy Laboratory at the Federal University of Western Pará, with people like Professors Roberval Santos and Lázaro Silva. And finally, I'd like to extend this gratitude to my advisor, Maria Claudia Lopez, who's kindly here today, who supported me through all these months of intensive field work, as well as my entire dissertation committee. I want to thank my partner, Ryan Jenkins, for bearing me through these long trips and months that I spent away from him. Finally, I want to thank my friends at the Department of Community Sustainability for creating a vibrant intellectual home that values interdisciplinarity, community engagement, and justice-oriented research as much as academic rigor. And one final note, I'm happy to share with all of you that in a couple of weeks, I'll be heading to Brazil to present my research to the National Agency for Electricity. So I'm going to be directly communicating these results with policymakers, decision makers, in the hopes of actually improving the implementation of public policies. Thank you very much.
I'd like to bring Angelique, Shenlu, Jennifer, and Raphael back to the stage to get your awards and to get the picture as well.
Well, it sounds like I'm going to have to add add a handful of dissertation defenses onto my calendar in the not too distant future. The Office of University Outreach and Engagement in the Graduate School also invited nominations for the Graduate Student Award for Science Communication and Outreach, an award conferred in recognition of the exemplary translation and communication of scholarly ideas, research findings, and advancements in all academic disciplines to the general public by a graduate or graduate professional student. Nominees for this award are expected to be enrolled as a master's or doctoral student, conduct science communication and outreach activities while also being enrolled in graduate study at MSU. Simultaneously, they're also expected to exemplify effective communication and outreach practices for addressing a significant public need for accurate information. So timely in these times here. The recipient receives a plaque to memorialize the accomplishment and a $750 stipend. Once again, it is my great pleasure to announce another recipient of an award, and this is the recipient of the 2026 Graduate Student Award for Science Communication and Outreach. The winner of this award is Rachel Drobnik from the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources in the College of Natural Science. Please join me in welcoming Rachel to the stage to speak on their accomplishments.
Hello, everybody. I'm so honored to be amongst such incredible students tonight. And I'm honored to receive this year's MSU Graduate Student Award for Science Communication and Outreach. And while I am incredibly proud of the work I have done to mostly promote the use of conservation practices on Michigan farms, I view this achievement just as much as a reflection of the unmatched support I've received from collaborators, mentors, and community partners over the 7 years I've been at MSU. I'm in my Deathly Hallows year, if I were in Harry Potter. When you work in the agricultural industry, as I do, and even more so in agricultural science, as I do, change happens slowly. We think in terms of growing seasons. We expect soil to build organic matter over decades, and the people we work with are spread out across an entire state. Agroecologists like myself dream big. We want not just to reduce the harmful effects of agriculture, but to restore it for all life. To make significant progress towards this goal, we must work together and waste no time. In my opinion, science communication and outreach are our most magical tools to inspire change. Science communicators transform complicated research into useful and accessible information, and outreach builds relationships between science and the community at large to listen and learn from one another. Inspired throughout my undergrad at MSU, working with MSU Extension, the Honors College, the Office of Community Engagement, and more, I knew I wanted to be part of that magic. My graduate outreach and science communication experiences at MSU's Kellogg Biological Station, about an hour and a half southwest of here, have truly been magical. I credit my advisor, Dr. Christine Sprunger, for constantly supporting my wild outreach ideas and plans to travel 900 miles around Michigan to sample soil in 8 days, which extend the soil ecology research we conduct. In addition, multiple outreach mentors at the Kellogg Biological Station give me opportunities to speak at agricultural events, assist with programming, and lead the development and publication of extension bulletins, all of which has expanded ecologically managed farmland in Michigan, strengthened farmer-researcher partnerships, and increased support for conservation agriculture. For all these activities, I thank Drs. Nick Haddad, Liz Schultheis, Nimir Baker, Taylor Ulbrich, Christine Charles, Brooke Wilkie, Lauren Sullivan, Phil Robertson, Catherine Doherty, my parents, and my grad school peers. I'm privileged and honored to be inspired by such compassionate, intelligent, and impactful outreach mentors, and to have them constantly champion me. Thank you.
If you're interested, and I would strongly suggest that you do so, descriptions of the students' community engagement activities, as Vice Provost Brookins noted, are included in the award ceremony program and on the University Outreach and Engagement website. So let's just close by congratulating all of the talented, skilled graduate students recognized today. Thank you.
Thank you, Pero. I'm always inspired by what's ahead of us, the students, the professionals, and now we shift a little bit to those of us who've been doing this a while. We now continue to the program by recognizing recipients of MSU's Distinguished Partnerships Awards. These awards acknowledge highly engaged and scholarly community-based research, creative activity, teaching, and service collaborations, both in the United States and abroad, which positively impact both communities and scholarship. Recipients are selected annually as the best in each of these categories from among all nominees for the Michigan State University Community Engaged Scholarship Award, for which they are also named as finalists. I'd now like to introduce Rebecca DeVoe, Vice President for Government Relations, to present the first of our Distinguished Partnership Awards. You can clap.
Thank you, Kwesi. So my nightmare is always following Pero because I think he embodies sophistication and I do not. So this is my nightmare. The Distinguished Partnership for Award for Community Engaged Service recognizes a university community partnership that addresses specific issues identified by individuals, organizations, agencies, industries, or communities. Community engaged service may include technical assistance, consulting, policy analysis, expert testimony, legal or other professional practical-based advice, diagnostic and clinical services, human and patient care, services on advisory boards, and disciplinary-related service to community organizations. For its efforts to advance equitable economic development across Michigan, I am delighted to present the 2026 Distinguished Partnership Award for Community Engaged Service to Advancing Community Engaged There's a lot of prepositional phrases in here. Let me start over. So it's a proper introduction. For Community Engaged Services to Advancing Community Engaged Economic Innovation, Regional Economic Innovation. Accepting the award are Jinan Jandi from University Outreach and Engagement Center for Community and Economic Development with their partner statewide consultative panel represented by Chris Miller with the National Coalition for Community Capital. So if you guys can join us.
Good evening, and thank you, Rebecca, and thank you, UOE, for this honor. I'm deeply grateful to accept this award on behalf of the Center for Community and Economic Development's Regional Economic Innovation Program. It is a lot to say. And for having one of our many great and amazing partners, Chris Miller, who is the CEO of the National Coalition for Community Capital and representing REI's statewide consultative panel. This recognition truly belongs to the many partners across Michigan who have worked with us to build innovative economic development tools, models, policies, practices, and programs. REI has always been centered on partnership. The program was built on the belief that meaningful and effective economic development does not happen in isolation. It happens when universities, communities, and local leaders work together to identify opportunities and to solve living problems. Over the years, this partnership has grown to include community organizations, economic development practitioners, entrepreneurs, economic development districts, industry partners, faculty, and students from across the state of Michigan. I want to take a moment to recognize Dr. Rex Lamore, this director of the center, there he is, and John Melcher, who built the foundation for this model. Their vision established REI as something different from traditional programs. Instead of simply studying problems, they designed a model that connects knowledge to action, bringing together community partners and university experts to test ideas, support innovation, and strengthen regional economies where it's needed most. The work we are celebrating tonight also stands on the shoulders of that leadership. Thank you. Together, REI and the consultative panel have crowdsourced ideas, engaged in discussions, and we have sought their advice and counsel on innovative economic development tools that could create or retain jobs across the state of Michigan. Every meeting with our consultative panel members reminds me of the wealth of knowledge and leadership from this group. So I would like to recognize the members of the statewide consultative panel who were able to join us today. So please stand. I see a lot of you. As we acknowledge and thank you for your leadership and partnership in this work. Thank you. I would also like to thank the CCED team who support this work, Mary Zumbrunnin, Bob Brown, Dr. Kevin Brooks, Anita Hernandez, and the MSU research assistants who have contributed their time, their talent, and energy to these partnerships. Their dedication makes this work possible. At the end of the day, the real impact of this work is not measured by programs and projects, but by the strength of these partnerships and the opportunities these partnerships create for communities across Michigan. Thank you again for the honor, and thank you for all the partners who make this work possible. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Chris Miller, who's representing the REI's Regional Economic Innovation Consultative Panel Network. Thank you.
I'm from the government and I'm here to help. So economic developers have a kind of a weird job and it's really interesting. When I started doing economic development, I had no economic development training, no business training, and no finance training. And most of the economic developers I tell that to go, well, that's perfect, because we really don't know what we're doing or how we're doing it. So to be able to partner with the REI office, I refer to it as the REI, Regional Economic Innovation Office. It's easy to remember. To be able to partner with them, as we have done for over a decade, to bring really creative and important change to our communities is a tremendous benefit. I recently had an interesting conversation with someone who said, I'm tired of planning, I want to do. And that is precisely what this group does. We bring back, and surrounding me and supporting me are the innovation fellows and the consultative panelists that bring expertise from across the country, but in particular across Michigan. And then they take that information that we exchange back. And to have a venue and a support like this office has been absolutely phenomenal. It has made a concrete difference, not only in communities across Michigan, but in communities across the country. And it's an honor and a privilege to be here as Rex and the team. Janan, she's pretty good, huh? Yeah. I wish she could get excited about stuff, but thank you very much for this honor. We appreciate it very much and urge you to continue to support this amazing Regional Economic Innovation Office. Thank you.
Taking the picture now. Thank you.
awkward silences. Oh, it was wonderful. So it's now my pleasure to introduce Ebony Green, Associate Dean for Undergraduate Advising, to introduce the next award.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm closer to 50 than I used to be. The Distinguished Partnership Award for Community Engaged Teaching recognizes a university community collaboration that results in sharing knowledge and encouraging learning through formal or informal arrangements, whether credit-bearing, non-credit, guided by a teacher, or self-directed. Such work may take many forms, including pre-college and youth programs, occupational instruction and licensure programs, seminars, non-credit classes and workshops, lifelong learning and enrichment programs for the public, producing materials to enhance public understanding, and curating collections at museums, libraries, and gardens. For its collaborative efforts in working with students to raise awareness of child sexual abuse and mobilize community responsibility for prevention, I am pleased to present the 2026 Distinguished Partnership Award for Community Engaged Teaching to Imagine a World Without Abuse, Advertising for Social Change. Accepting the award this evening will be from my home undergraduate college of Communication Arts and Sciences, Ross M. Charles and his partner, the Travis Bay Children's Advocacy Center, represented by Jenna Baker, Director of Prevention, and I'm hoping Henry, the center's facility dog. Yay! There's a dog.
I don't know where the dog is.
We didn't have an award for the dog.
Congratulations. All right, I guess I'm going first. Henry, can you sit? Show everybody how cute you are. Good boy. Okay, good evening, everybody. On behalf of the Traverse Bay Children's Advocacy Center, myself and Henry are deeply honored to be here alongside Professor Ross Chowles to celebrate this Community Engagement Scholarship Award. I should start by saying thank you to MSU's engagement and outreach for recognizing a partnership that has truly changed the way our communities take on prevention work. At the Traverse Bay CAC, we exist to protect children and support families across Northwest Michigan. Since our founding in 2010, our team has focused on preventing abuse before it begins while working to respond to abuse and help families work through allegations. This is why in 2018, when Larry Nassar was convicted of the very thing we work to prevent, and tragedy was felt both here on campus and from afar, we were all reminded of how prevalent and hidden child sexual abuse is in our society, and how institutions must take responsibility for keeping children safe. In that moment, MSU chose to partner with our small but mighty center, using our region as a demonstration site for the primary prevention of child sexual abuse. Through Ross's leadership and vision, our collaboration became something powerful. Over the past 8 years, his creative advertising students have worked alongside our prevention team to imagine how communication, whether that be posters, videos, campaigns, or simple classroom conversations, can spark cultural change and shift social norms. These students haven't just learned how to advertise to sell a product for a profit. They've learned how to use their voice to protect kids. And along the way, we've learned a lot too. As the Director of Prevention at Traverse Bay CAC, I've seen Ross bring out the very best in everyone he's engaged with through this work. Our staff, his students, the larger communities around us, and even professional audiences across the country have been transformed after learning about the meaningful work happening within the classroom of Professor Chowles. Whether it's presenting with us at conferences, brainstorming over countless Zoom meetings, or helping us bridge university resources and community needs, Ross approaches this difficult work with equal parts creativity, humility, and heart. The work of protecting children can be heavy and exhausting, leaving many folks reluctant to engage with such stigmatized subject matter. But it doesn't always have to be that way. I'm joined today by my furry companion, Henry. Henry is our certified facility dog who accompanies me to work every single day. I brought Henry with me today because, well, first, he really wanted to meet Ross in person. And second, he is a wonderful example of how hope can show up even in the seemingly darkest of places. Henry provides a sense of comfort and safety to children, families, and professionals while they are in our building and visiting with us. In doing so, he helps reduce stress and anxiety, turning something with the potential to be extremely traumatic into a positive experience. I fully acknowledge that Ross is not a canine advocate. Rather, he is a very great, very human one. But like Henry, Ross reminds us that prevention can also be hopeful. It can be innovative and, yes, even joyful. Together, we've shown that academic partnerships can do more than produce research. They can produce real change. Change that not only is helpful to creating safer communities, but meaningful to the students engaging with these projects, who consistently report that this project makes them think differently about their own role and the community's role in the prevention of child sexual abuse. It brings me a great deal of hope to think about the ripple effects that Ross and his students have initiated over the past 8 years. And Henry agrees. He's a little camera shy.
Everybody gets a chance to speak.
We know that these ripple effects will be far-reaching for many years to come, and as a result, many kids will be better protected because of it. So on behalf of the children and families we serve, and the prevention professionals far and wide who've been inspired by this collaboration, we thank you. Thank you, Ross, for leading with compassion and imagination, and thank you, MSU, for believing that community engagement is not just an idea, but it is something that can quite literally save lives.
I just want to say something about the people who work at these children advocacy centers. As a society, we like to tell military people, thank you for your service, but we should be telling people who work in this environment. They are angels. Okay, I'd just like to thank Susan McFarlane, Jerry Zelders, Ann Hoffman, and Andy Corner, who did all the work for this application. I did nothing. But I also want to thank Reggie Noto, who's been on this journey with me from the beginning. It's amazing. Now, this award is not actually for us. It's for the students. Because, and I've got a student here, Marissa. Because these students take on this taboo topic of child sexual abuse, where people in Washington, D.C. don't. And that's, to me, amazing. Now, I've come from the ad industry, 36 years, and I've worked on a lot of PSA. And most PSA, it's somebody crying with a handout for donations. Ann Hoffman pulled me into a meeting, and the director of communication then, she said this sentence, imagine a world without abuse. And it totally caught my imagination because it's optimistic. And I could imagine a world without abuse. And I left that meeting and I thought, I can take this to the students. I can take this to the students. Now, many students, especially in the communication world, work in a hypothetical situation. It's, you know, is it real, is it not? But once they start working on child sexual abuse, and in the classroom, it's revealed that some of the students are victims, and there's tears. It gets real super quick, and the energy forces engagement. So now, in this course, I teach 4 cornerstone projects. One is called My Freak, where I try and teach the students that their weirdness is an asset in the communication industry. I then try and teach them to imagine building their own brand. And then a brand property. And a brand property is, if you think of the milk mustache for Got Milk. And then the 4th one is child sexual abuse. Now, you'd think that they'd hate the child sexual abuse project. but the opposite is actually true. Because what they suddenly realize is that the skills that we teach them to sell more Coca-Cola or more pizza, they can actually use to save a children's life, to prevent child abuse, and to actually make the world a better place. And that creates this, this aura of hope and optimism. And to me, that's like really precious. So it gives them hope, and we need hope in bucket loads. And my hope is that the full Jeffrey Epstein files get released. Thank you.
He knows how to smile. He's going for a profile today. Profiles. Profiles.
Well, Henry made my day. This was all worth it. Congratulations. Thank you so much for all the work that you've done. It is now my pleasure to invite to the stage Shashank Priya, Vice President for Research and Innovation, to introduce our next award.
All right. Actually, it's my 4th week here at university. I came from land of 10,000 frozen lakes, Minnesota. It was really cold there. And actually, the first time when you arrived in Minnesota, I came there from Pennsylvania, and you see people driving on top of the frozen lakes and parking their trucks, setting up the camp to do ice fishing. It looks very strange. But actually, I have a really good feeling about Minnesotans. They're really caring people, really nice people. There's a city in Minnesota called Austin, Minnesota, where Hormel Food Corporation is. It's the city where they manufacture Spam and other things that you eat. That city is called Food City in Minnesota, and they have a tagline called "No one should be hungry." And so there's a truck which drives around and distributes food to anyone in that city. It's just fantastic to see that, and that community speaks over 35 plus languages. Kids in the school, they have a chance actually to be one of the most diverse communities in the country. So yeah, Minnesota has a lot of great things, except for frozen winters. So I'm here, first of all, thanks Ebony, and I'm here to provide the Distinguished Partnership Award for Community Engaged Research, which recognizes outstanding collaborative inquiry between university and community partners to discover new knowledge and or insights. This may be accomplished through participatory research, applied research, contractual research, demonstration projects, program evaluations, and other form of collaborative participatory research. In recognition of its work addressing gender-based violence and strengthening care for survivors, I'm honored today to present the 2026 Distinguished Partnership Award for Community Engaged Research to Building Capacity for Community-Led Survivor Services and Wraparound Care in Detroit through research practice partnerships. Accepting the award is Elena Ruiz from College of Arts and Letters, with her partners, Melvina Fan-Jones with Women Healing Eternally and Transforming, it's called WHEAT, and Geneva Jackson from Sarah's House. So it's my pleasure to invite them on the stage, I guess. Yeah.
I'll wait for the family to come up. Thank you so much to the Office of Outreach and Engagement. We are here to accept this award and, importantly, the resources that come with the award. Support is a verb. These are critical resources that are needed in our communities, and we are grateful for it. Our project began years ago with very simple words when I picked up a phone call. How can we help? What do you need? With calmness and consistency over years, we've developed an entire program ecosystem with our project partners. Together, we have expanded access to community health infrastructures in Detroit. We've expanded access, importantly, to culturally specific services to rape victims, survivors, and also survivors of domestic violence. And we have, most importantly, expanded public access to public resources. This was our community mandate: expand public access to public resources. Over the course of many years, we have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for this project, and we have trained cohorts of students and faculty in ways of engaging with communities that produces real, tangible benefits that have been asked for specifically. I want to thank the many students who have worked on this project over the years, but foremost among them is Kalia Roberts, doctoral student who is here with us today. Yes, the student. For their endless dedication to this project. I want to thank also the Provost's office and the Cal's Dean's office. I see some folks here from them, if they can stand, for providing the, I see some folks. If you can kindly please stand. Thank you. For providing very early seed funding, and importantly, for believing in a vision and a way of doing research that is engaged and wanting to address real problems. Most importantly are our partners. I want to turn the mic over so as to not take up space any more than we have to as academics. To Melvina Fan-Jones, which will be the first to go. Come on.
Good evening. I want to say thank you so much to Michigan State University. I want to say thank you very much to the Outreach and Engagement Department. I really want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart to Sarah's House, to Geneva Jackson, who I've known for a large part of my life. I want to also say thank you to the Risk Department. I want to say thank you to Elena and to Kalia so much. As a founder and executive director of WHEAT, Women Healing Eternally and Transforming, but also as a survivor of domestic violence and sexual assault and homelessness with my son, DeLorean, on the streets of Detroit, it is very important that I wanted to let the people know here in the room how important the Risk Department and how important Michigan State was to my life. Growing up as a survivor, the only time that I got a break from the rape, the abuse, and everything that I went through is when I was here at Michigan State at the Spartan Debate Institute for that 1 week, that 2 weeks when I was in high school. And now it's pivoted to the point where I was able to start my own nonprofit with survivors that were going through the exact same thing that I went through. As I lived in this shelter, you would go to sleep at night with the family, and unfortunately, you would wake up that next morning to Detroit police carrying out body bags of that woman because now she's committed suicide because services was not available. So the support that Risk has given, the support that Elena and Kalia and the rest of the department in Michigan State has allowed them to give our nonprofits has been invaluable. They have not only sat down with us to walk through our programs with us, but they gave us language that allows survivors like myself to know that we're not the abuse that we have endured, that we can start nonprofits, that we can use, hallelujah, the issues that have come up against us to now be the thing that can allow other people to know that I'm not that issue, that's not my life, that I can use that situation to transform from it, and so I'm grateful for it. Thank you. Through the work that we have received from the risk department, we have been able to win grants. My organization has. We have won a huge grant from the state, just using that lived experience. That's just them just walking us through it, through the programs. We won a huge grant from the state. I just went through my contract review. My contract review went through with flying colors. I had people that were a part of the state contract review board for the last 20, 30 years and was like, I've never seen a new nonprofit, policies, procedures, your whole program, like just, already have everything stretched out. But that was nothing but to the work that I received from Michigan State, and I'm grateful for that. Also, just even the honors that I've been able to receive, like I said, with being able to use my lived experience. The thing that Kalia and Elena don't realize is that they gave me not only language, but taught me to how be able to present myself in the room, to not feel like I have to shrink, to not feel like I have to, conform to the room because I am a survivor, but to be able to own it and then be able to live in it. So I'm just grateful for it and just grateful for the work that they've done. I come back next week to receive the Hometown Hero Award, and I'm attributing that award to risk, to Michigan State, and just to the work that I've received. Next month, we also receive a national award just for our program and just for the work that we've been able to do. But again, that's all because of the work that we've received from risk, because they sat down with us, like I said, and walked us through everything we specifically needed to know, and specifically being able to bring that back to survivors to know how to use and leverage all of our information to build up the program. And I'm grateful for it, and just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, as not only, like I said, as a survivor, but just as a founder, as an executive director. Thank you, Michigan State. Thank you for giving us departments like risk. Thank you for giving us people, just to just invest their time in somebody, like an organization like mine, somebody that will let survivors know, hallelujah, that they matter. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And RISC is the Research Institute for Structural Change. I know we have lots of acronyms. Geneva, would you like to say something?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Geneva Jackson, and I am the founder and executive director of Sarah's House Place, which we assist. We started out working with pregnant women. We didn't have in mind, it wasn't even in our wheelhouse to think about domestic violence or anything like that, because when I was given this mandate by God, I didn't really know what to do with it, for the simple fact I've never been abused. I've never been homeless. And I was like, well, what am I supposed to do with this? But throughout the years, we've been doing this for over 20 years. And what he showed me was ministry helping pregnant women who could not afford just the basics for their babies. And so we started in 2010 with our first community baby shower, which was about, we had about 20 to 25 recipients that came. And the plan was just to do that one baby shower, and that was it. We're still doing it. We're preparing for one in May of this year. Over the years, we started out with the 25 women. We service over 100 women at the shower. We serviced them throughout the year. And from that became the knowledge of a lot of the women that participated in the shower were abused and that they needed help. And so that opened up another avenue. So I'm grateful and I'm thankful. We had the support of our community and our family, but we didn't really know what we were doing. So I thank God for connecting me through a professor who I went to, and I asked her, do you know anybody that might be interested in helping us write grants? Because we've never got any federal grants or anything like that. And so she said, well, I'll put out the call. She sent out an email, and Miss Elena was one of the respondents. And through that, we came together, we had a meeting, and she and Kalia were very, 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 very helpful with Sarah's house, getting us on the right track, the policies, with everything we needed. And because of their help and assistance, we received our first federal grant on last year. And we're just excited. When we met with them for the first time, they sat, they listened, and they understood the mission. They didn't tell me what we couldn't do. They didn't tell me that's not possible, but they got to work immediately and showed us what was possible for us to do. And so I'm very grateful for Michigan State allowing them to work with us these last, I want to say 3-4 years. It's been a blessing. They have opened up their hearts and their doors to us, and we appreciate that, and we appreciate risk, and we appreciate this honor. So thank you.
Oh, it's so inspiring. I mean, these stories, oh my God. I've been sitting here and trying to stop crying for a long time. It's just unbelievable, one after another, just amazing work. Really, really great evening, I mean. Okay, it's now my pleasure to invite Titus Awu-Kushe, Vice Provost and Dean for International Studies and Program, to the stage, and he will introduce our next awardees, so thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here. And in international studies and programs, we are very proud of the collaborations and the growing partnerships with university outreach and engagement. One phrase I want you to remember is the phrase, global is local, and local is global. And I believe everyone in the room can relate to this. You just have to go back about 5-6 years ago, that it takes one flight from one location thousands of miles away, and a local problem there became a local problem here. So global became local. And the reverse of that is also true, that things that are happening right here in the state of Michigan becomes global issues and global solutions. And Michigan State has been a very proud institution that has made significant impact through our local work here in making a difference globally. So the Distinguished Partnership Award for International Community Engaged Scholarship recognizes university community partnerships that engage in research, creative activity, teaching, and or service outside the United States. The award recognizes the intellectual, social, cultural, and administrative complexities of fostering and sustaining excellent collaborations of this kind, for its efforts to document and amplify Himalayan knowledge systems, oral traditions, and cultural practices in indigenous communities, particularly in Nepal, India, and Bhutan. I am delighted to present the Distinguished Partnership Award for International Community Engaged Scholarship to Unveiling Ancient Yaktun Rhetorical Traditions, Matrilineal Civilizations, and Mundun Practices of the Himalayas. And accepting the award, and please come forward, accepting the award is Daniel Nicole DeVos on behalf of Maharang Limbu and his community partners, Himalayan Yaktun Cultural Studies, Ya Pendagimas, and Yaktun Cultural Leaders. Nicole.
My name's Danielle. It is my honor to speak on behalf of my colleague Marang Yakthung Limbu, who is currently in Nepal, filming at research sites central to his ongoing scholarly work. Although he can't be here with us and the other amazing award winners tonight, his voice, his community, and his commitments are very much present in the work we celebrate today. Professor Limbu's community engaged scholarship is remarkable in its global reach, and also because of the profound relational ethics at its core. As a Himalayan indigenous scholar, his work emerges from a lifelong relationship with his community and from a research philosophy grounded in reciprocity, collaboration, and shared authority. He works closely with Himalayan Yakthung communities across Nepal, India, Bhutan, and the diaspora, approaching these communities not as data sources, but as co-creators of knowledge, as partners whose intellectual labor guides every step of his projects. His work is shaped by a decolonial methodology of delinking, relinking, and linking, a methodology that requires indigenous epistemologies must not simply be included, but must be at the core of research processes, shaping aims, methods, and outcomes. Across a decade of fieldwork, Professor Limbu has collaborated with ritual specialists, oral historians, and indigenous scholars, including the Himalayan Yakthung Cultural Studies Group, Yafa Dengmas, and Yakthung community leaders, to document, preserve, and revitalize Lakthung Mondom, the expansive oral, ethical, ecological, and cosmological tradition that structures Yakthung identity and governance. His work has helped ensure that these fragile knowledge systems are archived, translated, and shared with younger generations through digital story maps, ritual guides, multimodal narratives, and participatory workshops that span from cities in Nepal to classrooms here at MSU. The impact of this work on communities has been transformative. Professor Limbu's collaborations have led to the formation of Himalayan community-based learning spaces where Yakthung learn directly from knowledge holders in their own languages. Drawing on his own experiences speaking 6 languages and through various resources and digital archives, Professor Limbu's work counters the erosion caused by colonial and para-colonial schooling systems and affirms cultural dignity, intellectual sovereignty, and intergenerational community. The impact of this work here at MSU is likewise deeply and profoundly significant. Professor Limbu's courses and the learning communities that he's launched and led and collaborated with invite students and faculty into rigorous cross-cultural dialogue and the practice of ethical reciprocal research. Students learn oral customs, multimodal documentation practices, digital archiving approaches, and community-engaged methods not as abstract concepts, but through direct participation in living non-Indigenous and Indigenous knowledge systems. Faculty collaborations across the US, Nepal, India, Australia, and the UK benefit from the expansive and transdisciplinary approaches he's developed, approaches that bridge classical rhetoric, intercultural rhetorics, cultural studies, Indigenous epistemologies, and digital humanities. Professor Limbu's current major project, supported by MSU HARP development and large-scale grants, deepen this work. He is documenting matriarchal Himalayan civilizations and filming cultural customs and practices tied to Mongthom, oral traditions. His research shows that Mongthom operates not only as a Himalayan cultural constitution, but as a living pedagogy, a system of ethical, ecological, and communal instruction that has shaped Yakthung identity for more than 6,000 years. In his current projects, Professor Limbu highlights the central role of women as mentors, advisors, and cultural leaders in these traditions. This work holds profound implications for global discussions in feminist theory, indigenous governance, and community education. The future of his community partnerships is as visionary as its foundations. Professor Limbu is working toward the creation of a Yakthung Indigenous Knowledge and Cultural Rhetoric Center, a physical and virtual hub for collaborative scholarship, digital archiving, intergenerational learning, and Indigenous-centered curriculum development. He's completing a scholarly monograph on Himalayan cultural rhetorical traditions and producing, and this is where he is off filming right now, a documentary on Mongthom, matriarchy, and Yakthung civilization. In his words, community engagement is not a project, it is a lifelong commitment. His work shows that ethical scholarship requires practice, patience, humility, and a willingness to walk alongside communities, not in front of them. His work invites us to rethink and reframe what scholarship can be when it is rooted in care, relationality, and cultural resurgence. On behalf of Marang Yakthung Limbu, I want to express deep gratitude to the University Outreach and Engagement Office, to his students, to his community collaborators across the Himalayan region, to the Himalayan Yakthung Cultural Studies Group, and to all of the colleagues who have worked with him and walked with him on this journey. This Distinguished Partnership Award for International Community Engaged Scholarship recognizes not only his scholarship, but the collective labor and vision of the many communities with whom he works. Thank you for honoring this work. This award affirms the transformative power of community-engaged scholarship and the futures made possible when universities commit to global community-led, collaborative, and decolonial knowledge-making. Thank you.
To introduce our next award, it is my pleasure to invite to the stage Dr. Theresa Maston, who is the Vice Provost and Associate Vice President for Faculty and Academic Staff Affairs.
Thank you, Titus. The Institutional Champion Award for Community Engagement Scholarship recognizes exemplary efforts by a university leader, faculty member, faculty team, or initiative to systematically encourage, nurture, and support scholarly community engagement by faculty, staff, and students. Recipients honored with this distinction have had a significant positive impact on the ability of others to engage with communities beyond campus. And in doing so, have advanced the institutionalization of community-engaged scholarship and university outreach at Michigan State University. Today, we recognize the many achievements of Andrea Widling, who has partnered with communities around the state to address the shortage of physicians in rural areas. A professor in the College of Human Medicine, Dr. Widling created the Leadership in Rural Medicine Certificate Program, which recruits students interested in rural medicine and provides them with community-engaged training to develop the confidence, comfort, and skills needed to care for patients in rural and remote areas. For this and other initiatives that have elevated Michigan State Michigan State's national reputation as a leader in rural medicine, I'm pleased to honor her with the Institutional Champion Award to Community Engaged Scholarships. Please join me now in welcoming Andrea Windling to the stage.
Thank you, Dr. Maston, for those kind words. And thank you also to MSU Outreach and Engagement for developing an award that honors the work that Spartans do in communities. I was a kid who grew up in a rural area without a doctor and definitely without a vision that I could ever become one. As I progressed in my career and was able to put that in the context of health disparity, I learned my story was not unique. Rural is our largest medically underserved population in this country, and one of the drivers is a lack of physicians. We need students who are interested in practicing medicine in rural communities, and then we need to train them into physicians who are confident practicing in those same rural settings. As a rural physician, a rural kid, and a rural workforce researcher, I've been able to integrate my work and life and research to develop a solution to this disparity. And then MSU has given me the opportunity to live that out. Rural medical training programs are not easy. They involve cooperation on the part of many community stakeholders, all of whom are playing the long game to support and develop and train the physicians we need. Through the work of many, Michigan State University's College of Human Medicine now has campuses in 3 separate rural regions of our state: Marquette in the Upper Peninsula, Traverse City in northern Michigan, and Midland, covering the Mid-Michigan and Thumb region. Connected to those campus hubs, we have partnered with many more rural hospitals and health systems, public health departments, and community organizations. We partner with rural colleges and universities to identify and recruit rural students into our programs, and then we work hard to support those same students throughout their educational journey, from undergrad to medical school and into their residency. And then through our research, we've been able to show that these programs, that this model works for our state, where we now have Spartan MDs practicing in those same rural regions where they originally trained, often for decades or even entire careers. It's really cool. It has taken so many people and communities to make this work that I couldn't possibly thank them all. I do want to acknowledge, though, the rural campus teams. These are the community assistant deans and student program administrators and rural coordinators that are the feet on the ground every day for these students. I want to thank Julia Terhune and Liz Lyons, who are the associate directors who helped to build and now help to maintain these programs. I want to thank the College of Human Medicine's Dean Office and the Academic Affairs leadership teams. And I want to say that all of these people have been my colleagues, my support, and my friends throughout all of this, and I am grateful. And finally, my last thank you goes to Michigan State University for giving me the opportunity to change the world in exactly the ways I wanted to change it. It has been a wonderful, meaningful career that I am grateful for, and I am thrilled that we have all gotten to do this work together. Thank you.
Congratulations again, Dr. Windling. I'd now like to welcome Kwesi Brookins back to introduce our final award of the evening.
Bert, every year I always forget that next year we need to be sure to put tissues on the tables because it's tough listening to what we do. And I'm really appreciative, right? Particularly given what we just heard. We often hear people say, well, you know, where is Michigan State University in my community? And certainly locally, right? When those folks down the road moved in on Michigan Avenue, they say, well, where y'all at? But when you hear things like that, all you have to do is say, we're everywhere, right? Look to the left, look to the right, and you won't miss us. You won't miss us. The culminating presentation of this ceremony is a very special one. The Michigan State Community Engagement Scholarship Lifetime Achievement Award. You see, all of our awards have very long names, and this one in particular because it is a lifetime, right? And it's conferred upon individuals in recognition of outstanding and sustained accomplishments in community engaged scholarship through research, creative activity, teaching, and/or service over the span of a career. Given the special nature of this distinction, it is not intended to be an annual award, but conferred only on those occasions in which the extraordinary accomplishments of an engaged scholar so warrant it. Today is such an occasion, and those accomplishments belong to Rodney T. Whitaker with the College of Music. We have asked the representative partners of Rodney to say a few words about his accomplishments and career. Please join me in welcoming the Dean of the College of Music, James Forger, Greg Hill, and Ken Jones to the stage.
Well, thank you, Kwesi. It's wonderful to be here. I'm delighted. I'll move this along and only offer 4 minutes of praise on behalf of my colleagues for the impactful lifetime of musical, scholarly outreach activities, as well as his life-changing mentoring and teaching that my friend and colleague Rodney Whitaker has achieved. And since he is such a young man, I think we'll all look forward to many more years of his leadership and accomplishment in the classrooms, right? I mean, you have another lifetime to give here, I think, and in performance venues near and far, where he will continue to change the lives of many young, middle, and older folks throughout the world through the power of jazz music. Rodney is a proud son of Detroit, and Wynton Marsalis wrote the following. In the mid-1980s, I performed with the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. After a concert, the great trumpeter, Marcus Belgrave, brought a group of kids backstage. One of them was the 14-year-old Rodney Whitaker. I thought you were only 24. Even then, he was very serious and full of curiosity. Marcus said, "This young guy is the truth." And Wynton Marsalis responded, "That was an understatement." Following a distinguished line of great Detroit bassists, including Paul Chambers, Ron Carter, and Bob Hurst, Rodney was the conservator of the local jazz heritage. He left Detroit to earn an international reputation, joining, among others, the Harrison Blanchard Quintet, the Roy Hargrove Quintet, the Wynton Marsalis Septet, and the Lincoln Center Jazz Orchestra. He also had many concerts with the New York Phil, to the Los Angeles Philharmonic, from Diana Krall to Kathleen Battle, and from Dizzy Gillespie to Crosby, Stills, and Nash. So with over 100 recordings to his credit, Wynton wrote, quote, "The verdict is always the same. His unique, gritty sound proves groove, clarity, and depth. His playing is unique and unmistakable. It is the sound of integrity." Since joining the MSU initially part-time in 1998, did I get that right? 1994. Thank you. And becoming Director of Jazz Studies in 2000? 2000. Rodney has recruited top-level artist teachers and students from around the country, forming one of the most distinguished jazz studies programs in the United States at MSU on the foundations, building on the foundations of the blues, swing, mentorship, and the African-American experience. Embodying the best social values of jazz, Rodney has created an inclusive, warm, and intellectually stimulating environment for his students and for the members of the university and broader communities in the state of Michigan, throughout the United States, and around the world. One of his top Grammy-winning alums, who was one of the winners of the Thelonious Monk competition, always in the Kennedy Center, we'll see what happens to that, shared, "I can remember vividly as a high school senior visiting MSU, but being very nervous about being so far away from my hometown of Washington, D.C. The program was great, but it was hundreds of miles from home, from my family and friends. It was a scary thought for a 17-year-old. Professor Whitaker proved to fill that void that I thought would be missing. He welcomed me with open arms, not just as a student, but as a family. I knew right away after meeting him and his family that I would be in good hands, and anyone that sees Rodney in action as people come and audition and come to town for the first time with their families, he says, 'Welcome home.' So that's the way in which that warmth embraces folks to become a part of this community, the MSU Jazz community, MSU University, on first sight. A couple of other ways of expressing how he has accomplished. I mentioned, has built just such a terrific jazz program, mentoring, working with his colleagues, some of whom are here. The great Carmen Bradford is here, Randy Napoleon is here. The program has been recognized as one of the top 10 in the program by Lincoln Center over the last several years, and every single time going there, Rodney and his students have been in the finals, winning and coming in a close second, but we always know you're the winner no matter what. Always a winner. He has been recruited. So many people would like to capture and snitch him away. The University of Michigan came, Northwestern University came twice, and then Juilliard came, and he met with the president and the provost of Juilliard, who said, "We really need you to come here. You are the only one that Winton will take no from." Fortunately, he did say no to the president and provost and to his good friend, Wynton Marsalis, and declined being at Juilliard and built a fabulous, I guess I would say in some dimensions, a rival, it's not rival, you're all good friends in the community, but such an impactful program. And how to do that? East Lansing is not necessarily the destination for jazz, or is it? Is it? Oh, it is the destination for jazz, but it does not have, you can't walk down the street and have lots of action in clubs. Well, we need to build some more clubs. We have a few. But what Rodney did is he brought the world of jazz greats here. He brought them here. And he brings together with folks that want to support the program and the initiatives such as MSU, FCU, and the Visiting Jazz Artist programs. The leading jazz artists that exist come for a week and mentor and tour. And they go to Detroit and they play in Lansing. And they go either to Western Michigan or up in Northern Michigan. And he does concerts. And he has the school's master classes. He does concerts. And he has the schools charge an admission. And he says, you keep this money for your jazz program, for your music program, and continue to build it. So it's been a great initiative. Rodney engages with thousands of high school students around the world through Jazz at Lincoln Center's essentially Ellington program. As a matter of fact, there will be one here in East Lansing. You should all turn out on Saturday, April 18, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., essentially Ellington. He has recently been recognized as the winner of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, so one of his colleagues is Benjamin Franklin. That was a while ago when that started. But in the class in which he was inducted included George Clooney and a number of artists, scientists, and others. Congratulations, Rodney. And you may have seen the front page New York Times article on January 29, 2026, announcing that Wynton Marsalis would be stepping down after 40 years as managing and artistic director. He named several key contributors in that article to the institution's growth. He said, "It's not just me." One of the four was Rodney T. Whitaker. So I will close with another Wynton quote, which is, "Rodney performs, teaches, and creates community with unrivaled passion and commitment. His high level of intellectual curiosity and engagement is matched with deep, deep soul and humanity. His program is a shining example of what can be achieved with and for jazz music." So Rodney, I thank you for all that you do, for being a great thought partner and advisor in the College of Music. Hearty congratulations on this distinct honor for significant lifetime contributions.
Good evening. All you guys are putting me on the spot. You know, I was going to say a lot of things, but Dean Ford just said some of them, so I got to make up something. Paul Chambers played with Miles Davis on one of the best-selling jazz albums in history. Ray Brown played with the Oscar Peterson Trio. Percy Heath played with a modern jazz quartet. James Jamerson played with the Funk Brothers, the backbone of Motown. Ron Carter, one of the most recorded jazz bass players in history. The University Distinguished Professor of Jazz Bass and Director of Jazz Studies in the Michigan State College of Music, Rodney Whitaker, walks in the footsteps of those giant musicians. He's internationally known, that's been stated before. Also, he has more than 100 recordings, and also on those 100 recordings, he has scored 2 films. One of those film scores was for the film China, directed by Jeff Ray, and was released on PBS in 2002. And that film was shot in Lansing, Michigan, for the most part. For many years, Rodney was the artistic director of the East Lansing Summer Solstice Jazz Festival, and I had the pleasure of working on that board and working with him for several years. The city of East Lansing and the Festival Advisory Board enjoyed that collaboration. As was stated earlier, September 2024, Rodney Whitaker joined the ranks of artists, scholars, scientists, and leaders of one of the oldest learned societies in the United States, the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. The communities in Michigan are more enhanced with art with the work that Rodney Whitaker is doing at Michigan State University College of Music. Thank you, Professor Whitaker.
Hello, my name's Greg Hill. I'm a local music composer and collaborator with Rodney over many years now. And my memories of Rodney go way back before Rodney even knew me or met me or ever even talked to me. So I've been a lifelong jazz fan, and I attended the Detroit Jazz Fest and since it started, basically. And one year, there's a couple of young lions were brought up on stage in the 90s. One of them was Rodney Whitaker. And I said, all right, this guy's going places. I don't know how old he was at the time. He was probably early 20s, is that right? You remember? Yeah, somewhere in there, so. So I love his Detroit stories. We've had conversations over the years. Regina Carter was his chauffeur in Detroit when he had to get to class or get someplace and he didn't have his driver's license. Regina Carter, so he grew up with royalty on the east side of Detroit. Another little known Rodney fact is that he was a football player. So he went from knocking people down to raising people up through music like no other. I mean, this man is really... When you talk about outreach and engagement, he started out, when I first met him, when he first came to town, he'd carry his bass anywhere in town, any place that featured music, a pizza place out on Hand Street. His students, he wanted his students to be out there playing anywhere, anytime, just to have that experience. And the caliber of students that he brought back then they were good, but the students he's bringing today, this is a destination for around the world. This is the program you want. This will open the door to your future. And yes, absolutely. And he basically bulletproofs every student, and we have to thank the entire department, Dean Forger and all the professors. These are bulletproof. They're never going to get embarrassed on stage. They're going to know every tune, every tempo, they're going to know the solos of the people that play these tunes. Like they're extension beyond just jazz basics. They know everything there is to know about because of this program that Roddy's put together. So they can play anywhere, and they're not going to get embarrassed by anybody trying to put them through their paces on stage, because they're going to have it. All right, let's go 300 beats a minute, let's go, Here we go, bam. You're supposed to know the tune, and off you go. And if you don't know it, then, you lose faith, basically. And these guys don't lose faith thanks to the great work these guys have done putting this stuff together. I mean, you don't go out there unless you're ready with those guys. They don't turn you loose unless you're ready to play anywhere, anytime, anything, basically. So moving forward with Rodney, Summer Solstice Jazz Festival, he's the catalyst of that. He made it into something because he has the cachet to draw the names, and Randy Napoleon's a good example of that. We drew him from Ann Arbor. All right, that's a victory for us. And Michael Deese. These are household names in the jazz world, and this MSU is their launching pad for greater fame and notoriety. And again, it's Rodney's the man. He's the magnet that draws all this talent. I know he's also an international ambassador of jazz, Japan, Brevard, the Carr Institute. So he is everywhere all the time in any jazz environment. He's a household name in the jazz world, basically. And I've had the pleasure of putting 4 albums together with him with some of the world's best musicians, and I'm totally indebted to him for sort of lifting me up as well, just as a member of the community. So, so what can I say? He's the man. Let's give it up for Rodney. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Jim, Greg, and Ken. And raise your hand if you have benefited from what Rodney has brought to us. Look at that. Look at that, right? So, I got a lot more I want to say, but no, what we want to hear from is the honoree himself in recognition of an exemplary career of outstanding accomplishments and impacts on both scholarship and the public good. I am pleased to present the Michigan State University Community Engagement Scholarship Lifetime Achievement Award to University Distinguished Professor of Jazz Bass and Director of Jazz Studies, Rodney T. Whitaker.
The thing that I think the most about when I was maybe about 16 years old, I decided at that point that I wanted to be a professor. I don't know, I said, one day I'm going to be a professor. I saw this vision of that. And I'm also reminded of the time that when I was inducted into the academy, and I'm standing on the podium signing the book. And I said to myself, what am I doing here? What did I do to deserve this honor? And for me, music changed my life. And I always wanted to give the gift of music to other individuals to maybe help change their life. It gave me purpose, it gave me vision, and it made me understand life. And I'm a kid that grew up on the east side of Detroit in an impoverished community, impoverished neighborhood. But the thing that was beautiful about my community is everybody had heart and everyone had humanity. And I wanted to be like those people, and I wanted to share it. I grew up with, I'll say, my mom who grew a garden, who fed the whole community from her garden in her backyard. And I'd also like to acknowledge my wife, because she is the one that gives me the courage. She makes me feel invincible. And yes. My wife, Cookie, I should say, stand-up Cookie. And we have 7 children. I like to thank my children because doing this work, you spend a lot of time away from your family and your children. And 2 of my children are here. I have Garrison, who's here, and Raquel. And then I'd like to thank the jazz faculty. I'd like to thank the jazz community here in Lansing. I'd like to thank especially Dean James Forger, who indulged me and allowed me to dream out loud and funded it, more importantly. I like talking, but I won't talk very much longer. I just like to share with you all. I remember doing this is the last thing I'll say, but I remember doing an interview on the radio with Mike Stratton, and he asked me 26 years ago. He said, "What are you planning? How long do you plan on staying? You know, and what are you planning to do while you're here?" And I said, "We're going to turn Lansing into a jazz mecca." And he looked at me as if I was insane, and that, how are you going to do that? And I tell you, when we bring people into this community, it changes their lives. So oftentimes we bring in guest artists who don't believe in education no more until they come to East Lansing. So we bring in a guest artist for 3 reasons. One is to affect the community in a positive way. The other is to affect our students in a positive way. And the other is to change their lives. So thank you. I appreciate this honor and this award. I'm really honored. I'm really honored. And thank you.
They're going to hang out and hug a little bit longer, but we're going to just keep it moving here. Let's give it, congratulate Rodney one more time, please. I told you they're going to hang out. Before we depart for the evening, transition to the reception. We got a little food, got a little drink. You're welcome to stay. I won't say as long as you can, but we'll tell you when you got to leave. I'd like to draw your attention to the 1-page double-sided executive summary of University Outreach and Engagement Strategic Plan on the table in front of you. It has a QR code that takes you to the full plan, and you can pick up a hard copy at the registration table in the hallway. We began implementation of the plan in February and are looking forward to working across our campus and communities to elevate the engagement and engaged scholarship that you witnessed here tonight. And this afternoon and this evening, which many of you in the room continue to do. And imagine a future where Michigan State University continues to be seen as essential to the community and economic well-being of the state of Michigan and beyond. Or as our president, Kevin Gutzkwitz, likes to say, Michigan's State University. I would also like to take a moment to express my gratitude. Thank each of you for attending the 2026 Outreach and Engagement Awards ceremony, both in person and those of you who joined us via live stream. Your participation honors our colleagues, their community partners, and our shared efforts to address challenges and improve the quality of life for all. I would like to thank the many, many individuals who served on the awards selection committees across campus. Give it up for them. These are our peers who are making these selections. This is not just our office. We kind of manage it, but it's our peers who are making these selections and the nominations as well. I know it was a challenging task, so thank you for your time, effort, and attention to all of our our nominations and their impactful work. A special thank you to our presenters whom I have had the pleasure of sharing the stage with tonight. My thanks also to Janet Jurus and Stacy Pierce from Capital Area Interpreting and Consulting Services. Thank you for providing us with sign language this evening. Dane Robeson of Time Frame Photography, who's been keeping us in line on the stage for taking the pictures throughout the event. Dane is always with us with these ceremonies. I think he loves us as much as we do. And Kevin Epling and Randy Flick with Cheney, did I say that right? Cheney or Cheney? Cheney Media Concepts for allowing our online community to participate in the program. And as evidence of the welcome that Rodney has created here for our students, we want to thank you to the Spartan Jazz Quartet and MSU College of Music Student Jazz Program for providing this evening's entertainment. They'll continue with that entertainment as we continue recepting. Many thanks here to the staff here at Kellogg Center. The support they continuously provide does not go unnoticed. If y'all in the room, thank y'all. We appreciate it. And one final extension of gratitude to the dedicated staff at University Outreach and Engagement who made this ceremony possible, particularly Bert Bargerstock, Gotta Georges, Julie Croce, Barb Groves, Cami Huffnagel, Pat Mish, Kelly Hansen, Brad Smith, Jacob Smith, Emily Springer, and I pronounced them all right, I think. Did you get it? Now, please stick around to enjoy the food, the beverages, and music, and we hope to see you next year for the 2027 Michigan State University Outreach and Engagement Awards. Have a wonderful evening, and if you see somebody you don't know, get to know them.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Always.
I was just thinking about when Whit Marcellus was here. Are
Ooh.
we on a hot mic?
We probably are.